He built confidence in those guys. And when Steve Kerr came in, he had this concept of ball movement on selfishness. Those two things together led to us really having an incredible season. But I got to give the credit to a lot of guys that weren't there. A lot of guys are still playing currently, and they couldn't be there. But the three of us, Brandon Rush, Mo Space, and myself, came to represent.
Oh, congratulations. That was a beautiful reunion. We had Mo Spates and Brandon Rush out at the Gatehouse, and we shared some stories there, so it was nice. But Fezzi, to me, it's always cool that team won that first championship in 40 years. It really revitalized the franchise. Obviously, they've won 3 since. But it was a remarkable accomplishment, great reunion. But it's funny, as you mentioned, you young guys, you guys actually kind of did the two-timeline thing.
That's right.
With the vets and the youngs and made it work.
It's so funny now because we came back and we're looking at guys like Kevon Looney. Kevon was the young guy back then, and we're asking about it's kind of crazy because now you're the old veteran for the Golden State Warriors. So it's just time is crazy, and it's really good to see those guys, but also really proud of the Warriors, how they sustained the success.
And that parade in Oakland, California that season was just special. Yeah. Special. So I'm glad you got your due. As you check out this graphic here, the Warriors, maybe they reminded us of that team back in 2015. Look at this, the largest combined scoring margins over a 3-game span in the Steve Kerr era. They've blown out teams over the last 3, blown out Sacramento, Charlotte, and of course the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, this is impressive. You always got to take into consideration who they're playing, but to me, it's how the Warriors are playing. Since Jimmy Butler has arrived, the eye test tells you they're much better. The stats back it up overwhelmingly. Stats that used to really hurt the Warriors, points off turnovers, the Warriors are dominating that. The minutes with Steph is off the court. They were a minus 90 before Jimmy Butler got here. They're over a plus 30 now. Getting to the free throw line. Their attempts and percentages way down, 30 and 26. Now they're at the 4 and 8. So the eye test tells you they're better.
Okay, big fella.
The margin of wins, Bonte, say it. This is truly one of the amazing trades. Now, short sample size, yes.
Right.
But statistically, eye test, I can't think of a trade where you got a guy and has changed things so dramatically in a short amount of time than Jimmy Butler. And what makes it more amazing to me, we all know the Warriors have a unique offensive system. He has fit in seamlessly, and he's the exact opposite of how they play. So this has been a dramatic change. And I think this catapults the Warriors' playoff hopes dramatically.
The biggest thing that I saw was Jimmy Butler coming into the Warriors when they were on the 5-game road trip. He got on the road. Like, they didn't even have practice, and Jimmy Butler came in and fit in seamlessly, like you just said. I'll look at the defensive side of the floor. The Warriors have a different swagger right now. On offense, you could talk about them scoring, guys are getting going, but defensively, they're really shutting teams down. They're setting messages at the start of the game. Last game against Charlotte, they held them to 18 points. That is, you know what this night is going to be. It's going to be a long night for all of you right now. Miles Bridges averages 20 points a game. He had 9 points last game. Points in the paint. They are dominating the points in the paint. And even though they're small, they got guys like Mark Williams last game for the Charlotte Hornets, who's 7 feet tall. They're still limiting those guys and making sure they dominate with the small ball lineup. Jimmy Butler has dominated, but also the bench and the supporting cast, they're playing at an all-time high right now.
They're rolling right now, but are they contenders? Are they truly legit right now? Well, they're 6-1 with Jimmy Butler, and they're on this 5-game road trip. And courtesy of Comcast Business, every kid extra counts. We're going to ask KB the same thing. The great KB, Garrett Burke, and of course, Petaluma's finest, Dalton Johnson. And KB, are the Warriors contenders? Can we buy in on this group here, or do we have to wait for this 5-game road trip to see where they end up after this 5-game stretch?
I mean, that's something I was thinking about on my way into work. What would it take to be a believer? Because you look at the margins of victory lately, you look at the impact of Jimmy Butler, you look at this 4-game win streak, but looking back at the rest of the season, just when you think the Warriors have turned a corner, they do something. Being a fan, you can get snake bit, right? What would make me a believer is their body of work on this road trip. Only one of these teams, the Knicks, have a winning record. Could the Warriors go 4-1? Could they go 5-0, which seems like wild to talk about, Dalton? But what are you looking for on this road trip that might make you a believer?
Well, exactly what you're talking about, Kerr'S, as far as, 4-1, 5-0. 5-0, that'd be a 9-game win streak. The Warriors will obviously take that, right? But it is the games like this past game against the Hornets where you take advantage of what's in front of you, where you get business done, right? You can't worry about who's on the schedule. You can get lackadaisical against some of these these lower tier teams, but the Warriors didn't do that against the Hornets, and that's what I'm looking for them to do on this road trip, where, as you brought up, only one team with a winning record. So I think I'm looking for two things overall on these 5 games. That will now be a 12-game sample size of Jimmy Butler. Still small, but now you're talking about double digits. You're seeing him really ingrain himself, be more and more conditioned, and we haven't seen a Jimmy Butler takeover game. He's averaging 18 points. He's had 3 20-point games with the Warriors, but he hasn't had to take over a quarter or long stretches. I want to see if there's an opportunity for that. And then number 2, obviously, is the reintegration of Jonathan Kuminga. How does he fit? Does he try to do too much? And how does he fit, especially just defensively? The little things with Jonathan Kuminga. Those are the 2 things I'm looking for to see overall how successful those 5 games can be.
Yeah, there's one more thing I'm keeping an eye on, too. The Warriors have been a part of 34 clutch games. They've not been in a clutch game since the All-Star break. Could we reach a point where we stop talking about these clutch games? Can the Warriors really be in control from the beginning of the game? Or if they have a little slip up, because it is a game of runs, can they be in control at the end when it matters? No more clutch games, guys, at least not for a little while.
No, we love the ice and chill format that we're seeing right now with the Golden State Warriors, KB and DJ here. But we look at the playoff odds here. The latest playoff probabilities for the Golden State Warriors. How about this, Fezzi Phil? Last Saturday, before that game last Friday night against Sacramento, they had a 7.6% chance to get the 6th seed. That's risen up to over 24%. And with the win today, they may be inching closer to 30% in getting that 6th seed and avoiding the play-in altogether. But you look at the box, the Warriors, basically, they're not going to be out of the box. They're going to be in the box at some point, so they will get at least 1 extra game in the regular season, but they're hoping to get up to 6 and higher.
I wonder how many people who were voting right there were listening to the Draymond Green podcast. That's what I want to know first. Second, it sounds like everyone right now is starting to buy into the Warriors. I remember earlier in the season, there was a 7-game road trip. And with that, I said they were going to go 5-2 at the time. And everybody looked at me like, wow. Now you just heard Dalton and KB gave the possibility of them going 5-0 on this road trip. It sounds like people are buying into the way the Warriors are playing. They're playing well defensively, offensively. I love the fact that Brandon Podziemski, Quentin Post, Moses Moody. I got to give a shout out to all the role players on the Warriors, because not only are they playing well when Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler are playing together, but when they're playing separately, these guys are carrying the load offensively. They're carrying their own weight. They're coming out defensively, getting all the stops, getting loose balls, rebounding. Guy Santos has been phenomenal so far.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything we heard or the votes. I think it's what we're watching. We're watching incredible basketball, offensive and defense connection. I think their half-court offense, because of Jimmy Butler, has really helped their defense, especially a transition defense. The efficiency offensively, how many times we're watching Pods, Moody, Draymond wide open, whether it be layups or open jump shots. So this team has changed drastically. And you know, to me, Bonte, the standings are a progress report. It helps you see where you stand and keeps the hope. But the way they're playing is what is the real threat.
So that graphic there, mathematical probabilities, not a vote, just simple math here. Maybe somebody who graduated from Vanderbilt. Who knows? So the chances, playoff odds, all that stuff. Not necessarily plus minus.
But you can feel it and you can see it.
No doubt about that.
Energy's changing.
No doubt. The energy is changing. And we're going to do some stock watching here. We're going to do some buying and selling. Warrior stock has been rising fast lately.
When Steve Kerr took over, he introduced a philosophy built on ball movement and selflessness, 2 fundamental principles that propelled the team to an unforgettable season. But while much of the credit goes to the players who were present that year, it's essential to acknowledge those who couldn't attend the reunion, many of whom are still active in the league. Representing that iconic group, Brandon Rush, and Mo Spites, and I came together to celebrate what was a truly special era. It was a moment of nostalgia, sharing stories and reliving the memories of a team that shattered a 4-decade championship drought, breathing new life into the franchise. Reflecting on that first title in 40 years, the significance of the achievement cannot be overstated. It was more than just a championship. It was a cultural reset for the organization. The parallels to the present day are striking. That 2015 squad successfully balanced veteran leadership with emerging talent, much like the current iteration of the Warriors. What's fascinating now is the evolution of players over time, how the once young stars of that championship run are now seasoned veterans, guiding a new generation. It's surreal to look at someone like Kevin Looney, who was a rookie back then, and realize he's now a mentor to the next wave of talent. One of the defining images of that title run was a victory parade in Oakland, a day that will forever be etched in the hearts of Warriors fans. The energy, the passion, the sheer joy of a fan base that had waited decades for a championship. There was nothing quite like it. That moment encapsulated what made that season so extraordinary. Fast forward to today, and the Warriors are once again generating buzz. Their dominance over the last 3 games, blowout wins against Sacramento, Charlotte, and Dallas, brings back memories of their peak under Kerr. The numbers tell the story. The largest combined scoring margin over a 3-game span in the Kerr era. But beyond the stats, it's the way they're playing that stands out. Since Jimmy Butler arrived, the shift has been undeniable. The areas that once plagued them, points off turnovers, bench production, defensive intensity, have all improved dramatically. Before Butler joined, the Warriors were struggling in key metrics. Now, they're thriving. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of Butler's impact is how seamlessly he has fit into the system. He arrived mid-season, jumped right into a 5-game road trip, and instantly meshed with the team. No extended adjustment period, no growing pains, just immediate results. His presence has transformed the Warriors defensively, instilling a renewed swagger. They're setting the tone from the opening tip, dictating the pace and suffocating opponents. Look no further than their game against Charlotte, where they held the Hornets to just 18 first-quarter points. That's the kind of defensive statement that signals a long night for the opposition. Miles Bridges, who averages 20 points per game, was limited to just 9, even against bigger lineups. Charlotte's Mark Williams, standing 7 feet tall, the Warriors are dominating the paint with their small ball approach. Beyond the starting 5, the supporting cast is playing at an elite level. The bench is firing on all cylinders, providing crucial minutes and elevating the team's overall performance. The question now is whether the Warriors are legitimate contenders. With Butler in the lineup, they're 6-1, including a road trip that saw them take care of business in every city. But skepticism remains. After all, this is a team that has shown flashes of brilliance before, only to stumble at critical moments. What will it take for the Warriors to fully prove themselves? Their upcoming road trip will be telling. Only one of their next 5 opponents has a winning record, meaning this stretch presents an opportunity to build momentum. If they go 4-1 or even 5-0, it could signal a real turning point. Beyond the wins, there are 2 key storylines to watch. First, Butler's continued integration. While he's already making a huge impact, he hasn't yet had a signature takeover game. He's averaging 18 points and has had big performances, but we've yet to see him completely dominate for long stretches. That moment is coming. Second, the reintegration of Jonathan Kuminga. How does he fit into this equation? Will he force things, or will he complement what's already working? His defensive contributions, in particular, will be crucial in determining how successful this next phase will be. Another factor to monitor is the Warriors' ability to avoid clutch game scenarios. Prior to the All-Star break, they had played in 34 games that came down to the wire, but since then, not a single one. That's a testament to how well they're controlling games from start to finish. The question now is whether they can maintain that level of dominance or if old habits will resurface. Looking at the bigger picture, the Warriors' playoff hopes are becoming more tangible. Just last week, their chances of securing the 6th seed sat at a mere 7.6%. That number has since jumped over 24%. And with another win, they could push closer to 30%. The reality is, This team isn't going to miss the postseason. They'll be in the mix one way or another. The only question is whether they'll have to fight to the play-in or lock up a top 6 spot outright. Momentum is building. Earlier in the season, the idea of the Warriors making a deep run seemed far-fetched. Now, analysts and fans alike are starting to believe. Even before this recent surge, there were those who predicted a turnaround. And now, that confidence is growing. The role players, Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody, and others, deserve immense credit for stepping up, whether playing alongside Stephen Curry and Butler or holding their own when the stars are resting. They're making plays on both ends, securing loose balls, grabbing key rebounds, and knocking down shots. Ultimately, the Warriors' resurgence isn't just about numbers. It's about the eye test. The chemistry is there. The defensive intensity is back. The offensive efficiency is clicking. And with Butler anchoring both ends of the floor, this team suddenly looks like a force to be reckoned with. The road ahead will determine just how far they can go. But for now, one thing is clear. The Warriors are rolling, and the league is taking notice.